Here I am, Leon C., also known as Morpheus. Now you saw the title. It's a very interesting one, huh? Kind of blow your mind and make you a little nervous and make you think I'm getting ready to get really biblical with this. Right? Well, you are in the Academy of Wowman. And here you are speaking to Morpheus. My task is to open up your eyes and tell you something that you probably haven't heard before, but if you heard it, you're going to hear it differently here. I received this request from a very troubled viewer. They're worried about what's going on in their country today, in the Western world. Or you could say America. And they want to know about this identity of the mark of the beast. I'm going to tell you something about what I know. What I know about the mark of the beast. And what you may think it is in your biblical text. And again, a lot of people think that the religions may be true because a lot of things today are similar. But what you don't comprehend is a lot of things is based on science and nature. And a lot of things are future preparations. What I mean is the future is always going to expose what the plan was many years ago. The major problem with a lot of people is that we don't have long vision. As I always say, we don't look 10 years in advance of what we do today. We only look at what we are doing today. And because most times we are so short-sighted as well with our own intellect and information gathering, where we are so dependent on other people to tell us what it is, what time it is, or the details of a thing. When nature explains everything. See, the individual asked me a question about the computer chipping, like chipping people, like putting the mark of the beast in your hands or putting it in your forehead or connecting it to you, same as the Matrix. And of course, this individual was excited to hear this information from Morpheus, to ask me the question. Because as you know, I'm all about going against the machine. So they figured that this will be particularly up my alley. But a lot of things isn't based on the machine. A lot of things is based on the science that we ignore. We are in an unnatural time in America because of that specific facts. But it all starts somewhere, and I'm going to make this audio very short. I want to extend it because it's actually a rundown of everything that I told you before in the past. It actually explains almost everything. This mark of the beast. Because you are told that it is going to come in the form of a computer chip. You were told it was going to come in the form of something maybe in your forehead or maybe as a branded tattoo sort of thing underneath your skin. And so that's what a lot of you expected. That's what a lot of you think of when you imagine the mark of the beast. like you do your cattle, or you tag your cattle. You put a stamp or something on their ear, or you brand them a certain way, depending on what type of cattle it is or animal. You mark them in a certain degree so you know what particular product that they are, when they're going to be harvested, so to speak. But I'm going to tell you this, and I want you to know this very, very clearly about Morpheus. I'm going to tell you this. Morpheus was right the entire time. I'm going to tell you how. I'm going to prove it to you. Because your identity of the mark of the beast has already been in play a long time ago. You've been taking it one day at a time. That's right. You've been injecting yourself with it. You've been playing with it. You've been smoking it. You've been popping it in your mouth. You've been dancing with it, and you have been drinking it. See, the way that the human body functions is not like a computer. A computer, you may need to add a different wire, a couple of wires, and some programming. A computer, you can switch around the motherboard and the computer chips within on the motherboard, right? You can change the mainframe. You can add in different augmentations to make the computer faster, operate it a little differently. Or you can even put a bug in it, depending on what type of program you try to implement in this computer. But humans are a little different. Humans operate organically. You operate by your flesh. You operate like fruits and vegetables. Put it like that. And the way you are to be modified is through the drugs that you take, over the counter and under the counter. This explains when I told you that you are responsible for your results of your DNA and your mutations that you pass on to your children through whatever encounters that you have either corrected or made as a habit in your life when you was the adult parent before you passed on your genes or your genetics through intercourse with the opposite sex. So therefore, the same measure, the same science, the same facts play along with your drug intake. Each time you mess around putting something between your lips, each time you're taking medications or any form of biological distortions within your body, which in turn become a stimulant or a prohibitor or an inhibitor within your bloodstream, it's going to affect your DNA over long periods of time. If you want to imagine it like a wave in the water or a ripple in the water. What happened is when you shake your DNA up with something that's different, it changes the wave. It'll change your fluid motion within your body or your chemical balance. And I like to call it, in my scientific studies, I call it changing colors. I talk about that a lot when it comes to women's emotions, or even your own emotions as men. Think of it as color changing. One day your mind has a different type of color, or that moment may be a different color, and your mind sends out signals through your bodies, through your nerve and your bloodstream to control the dynamic of your actions based on those demands that your mind or your brain have implemented through your consciousness. So fight or flight situation, it may, let's see, for example, what we are all familiar with, it may be flaming red or bright red color or neon red, neon orange or something like that, very bright, or bright yellow. And then in the moments of calm, it may be blue, or it may be deep black or burgundy or brown. So therefore, giving you this imaginary sort of exchange that happens within your body, because you got to imagine your body do a lot of fascinating things. It is very sensitive to what you interface with it, what you inject in it. So the way medications The way injections, with the way pills and drugs work, is it's a temporary wave in the water, a ripple in the swimming pool, to be exact. And therefore, the ripple may be abrupt. It may be pretty strong, just like somebody jumping right into the swimming pool. And the wave will start in that area, and it will expand through your entire body, through your entire fluid, through your entire circumference. All right, through your veins, and it activates in every area, depending on your derma, depending on your body weight, depending on your health conditions as well. It's going to go there. And if this medication or this pill or drug is good or bad, you will start seeing it in one form or another through your activities. All right. There will be some vomiting. There will be some diarrhea. You'll start getting pimples in your face. Your skin pigmentation will start fading. Your hair will start falling out. You get older. The list goes on. Start getting bad joints, back problems. Right. Can't see straight. I can continue on. Then the more toxic that this item is, depending on how heavy and how thick it is in the density, then you end up distorting your cholesterol levels. You end up distorting your, your fluidity of your veins. What that means is the same as food, plaque buildup and congestion and restriction of your veins. Or you can say the calcification thereof, which is a very terrible situation to be in. And then they have to go in for surgery and stenting in order to open up this vein to keep it from restricting your blood flow. But how this operates is first by you interfacing with the outside world. And so let's talk about foods for a moment, because we don't quite understand, because we're thinking that somebody's going to put a computer chip in your forehead or the palm of your hand or the back of it. You're a human being. Never forget that. So the way you interface with being chained down is going to be according to your phylum, according to your nature, according to you as a human being. Again, that will be fluid. It will be organic interfacing. And it will be what you eat. It will be your drugs. See, programming is not simply based on how the operating system will attack you, meaning how a computer chip is going to be created to connect to you, because there's no nodes. There's not much there. It's not much there. As a matter of fact, it will be an irritation underneath your skin for a little while, depending on how you think. Because some of you really don't understand science all the way. All right. There may be some interactions if you connect it to your vital organs. And depending on if it's battery operated, depending on what other node that it's connected to, you're going to need an interface of something else. Otherwise, it would just simply be a irritated metal and plastic item that's in your blood or underneath your skin, where you're going to have to pick it out over a certain amount of years. It'd have no function. But what you take in your environment, what you eat, is what controls you. You are what you eat. You are what you do. And psychotropic drugs, or drugs in itself, is at least 100% effective than it is any type of outer computer interfacing. Because you still have to have a connection from the computer chip or the items you might connect yourself to as a human being. You're going to need a node at the other end to respond to the chip, or to respond to the electronics that you are otherwise inferior to think that it's the mark of the beast that's within your skin. There has to be a connective point. Even though the human body have ability, yes, internally you can generate a certain amount of electricity, but it's not all that great. You can generate a certain amount of chemicals that can respond, but it's not all that great. And it cannot interface with the computer system, because once again, you are an organic person. All right. It's like you put a watermelon next to a computer, nothing's going to happen. You take a computer chip and you put it on the watermelon, nothing's going to happen. But if you connect that computer chip or that modem or item to an electrical outlet, then of course, then there you go. Then you might end up finding the watermelon might be pretty much splattered all over your room or all over the place in which your scientific project have succeeded. All right. But that's not with the human body. So first of all, it starts by eating the wrong food. Right there is a mark in your life. You wonder, how is this happening? Well, because you are what you eat. You start the train, or you can say the strain, let me be simple with you. You will start the tradition of hurting yourself, of programming your mind and your energy based on what you eat. And over the certain amount of years, if you're eating like heavy meats, you're eating pork, hot dogs, bologna, all that sort of thing, bacon, right? You're eating cow. You messing around being accountable, basically, and you're eating all these animals that you shouldn't be eating anyway. You'll find yourself sick eventually. You say, why is this? Well, there's something that I have learned over the years, and a lot of you are not going to agree with it because I really don't care. The reason why they say you are what you eat is because you take on that animal. Just like you take on the watermelon, you take on the banana. Whatever that you do, you're taking on that animal's life force, life energy. And it's not going to go away. As a matter of fact, you can drain all the blood all you want to out of the ham or out of the cow or whatever that you eat. But you're still eating the flesh of the animal. And as a matter of fact, the flesh is there because of the DNA of the animal. So you're still realistically eating the DNA. Everything about you is your DNA. Everything. From your skin pigmentation, from the color of your eyes, it's generally your DNA, your data, your genetic pattern. Therefore, it's no different than an animal. Just because you drain it, it doesn't mean that you are absent from its DNA. It don't mean that you are absent from its attributes. It doesn't mean that you're absent from practically anything just because you want protein or whatever nutrition that you think this animal can provide for you. And I always tell you, if you think you can do this, why don't you get the nutrition that the animal's eating? Why eat the animal? Why don't you eat the grass that the animal's eating? Don't eat the animal. If you can't eat the grass that the animal's eating, don't eat the animal. Did you hear what I said? Let me repeat myself. If you cannot eat the grain or the grass that the animal is eating, don't eat the animal, because you can't eat the grain or the grass that it's eating. So if you can eat the grain or the grass that the animal's eating, why not eat that? Why eat the animal? The moment of silence, please. Therefore, year after year, what you're doing is training your body to take in unnecessary, unnatural forms of stimulant and materials and minerals that your body has to struggle with on a constant basis. In the process, you are programming your body. In the process, you are taking in the demands of what you eat. Not a computer chip, chemically, by food. Food can also be a form of drug, depending on how you are taking it into your body as well. It affects you just the same. It will give you the cold chills just the same. It'll keep you up at night just the same. Have you have trips to the bathroom just the same. All right. And the bowel movement that you receive will be just as similar as some of the over or under the counter drugs that you may take, and also cause drowsiness, especially in certain meats like turkey and so forth. So what ends up happening is, for a short amount of time, there's a ripple in the water. And if you do it for a short amount of time just to get better, as you can imagine, your body will balance out because your body wants to be healthy. Your body's going to fight it because it's a stimulant. Your body don't like it because it's a foreign agent in your body. It's an alien in your blood. So after it gets its nutrition, after beating down whatever you put in your mouth, of course, that's when you come up with fecal matter. This is when you find yourself in the bathroom, one form or the other, flushing. All right. And the more natural or organic this thing should be, you should find yourself in the bathroom even more often because of the high potency of this particular item and how natural it is. So however you look at it, your body will have a chance to recover for a short amount of time. It may take time for the rippling effect after you take in these drugs and filthy foods, but it's for a short amount of time. The rippling wave will stop eventually once it reaches its end, once it runs its course in its process. You got it? Just like the over-the-counter drugs, it will run its course for a short amount of time. That's why sometimes you don't take one pill for all life, for your whole life. You're not going to take one medication, one sort of pill, and that's it. You take one pill and the rest of your life, you never have to deal with that problem again. Oftentimes, you have to continue to introduce yourself to that drug on a constant basis. Take 2 a day. Take 2 a week. Take 6 per month or year for the rest of your life or for several months in order to get the effects that you need, depending on what type of condition that your body's in. Because the body is going to recover and it's made to recover. It is a magnificent machine. Actually, it's the best machine that I respect and the only machine that I will ever respect on human earth. Now, let's continue with these facts. How this happens as far as the bombardment of these sort of interactions that you have with, here we are, called the mark of the beast. The effect is still the same, and the poisoning of your body is the same, and the results is for your control, meaning to control you. The results and the totality of it is to dumb you down and to distort your instincts. Your instincts is the connection to your higher mind. Your instincts is the connection and ability to filter out the programming in your intellectual mind, and to bridge you to ultimate knowledge. And the finality of it is wisdom that you would gain from it all. And so what you eat and what you take into your body as a poison and a stimulant will block out your instincts from your higher mind. And therefore, instead of you walking around and existing as an open-minded, wise, alert human being, you're walking around as a mammal. Well, you are a mammal, but you're walking around like a mindless mammal. You're walking around like a zombie, or you are constantly making mistakes. Or here's the other end of it. Some of you be uncomfortable about this, but I don't care about how you feel. This is facts, not your feelings here. If you want feelings, go somewhere else. Another thing that an individual will lean on if they don't have their instincts or common sense, they have intellect. Your intellect is usually a programmed intellect by your environment, by your indoctrination, by the books you read, by your schools or your churches that you go to. And so these people end up being even more dangerous than a zombie because they'll lean on their indoctrination and think they're smarter than anybody on the face of the world, and you can't tell them anything. These are the type of people who are, you call them haughty. They're hard-headed. They're stubborn. They're stuck on themselves. They're selfish. Some people say bougie. Some people say they're so self-centered where they consider everything they do is right and everything you do is wrong. These people, you can't tell them anything because they will recite everything their preacher or their professor told them, and they think they're right, and they can't filter out the common sense in between. It's why some people, when they go to colleges and they come out, they are the worst people that you can meet. You'd be better off with a street thug than you would with somebody like them, because they'll be the one to get you hurt. The street thug will at least protect you and have common sense and tell you how to dodge a bullet. But the book taught, indoctrinated, so-called intellectual person will get you hurt, get you in bad situations, and cause you to be locked up, or cause you to be in a compromisable slave-like lifestyle because of their thinking, because they have no common sense and they can't otherwise filter out or configure a very simple problem with simple solutions without overly complexing it or making it complex to the point where it's unusable. And they have a word for that. It's called sophisticated stupidity. All right. So this is the next stage if you don't want to depend on your instincts after eating all the filthy food. I've spoken to plenty of people in that circle, especially in college. We sat down and we talked. And the conversations was always simple. I give out a simple question and they will answer it in five or six different dimensions, unnecessary to the cause, unnecessary to the subject, unnecessary to reality, and overly complicate an otherwise situation. So as I'm getting let's say, for example, as I'm working on a car or doing something that comes with being constructive. Okay, I'll get it done in a matter of a day or a matter of an hour, depending on what it is. And real easy. It's painted. It's all fixed up, right? Like a building or something like that. They'll still sit there with a schematic in front of them, blueprints, a couple of tables of booklets and dictionaries. And, they only got the base worked out first. They got the foundation sitting here. I'm good. I'm enjoying my lounge chair. I'm enjoying my project already finished, and they're still sitting there trying to figure it out. By that time, it's a done deal. By that time, in a case of emergency, in the face of a life and death situation, when a bear or something's chasing after you, or a mob is after you, all right, they'll be the first ones. Oh, lock up the window. Let me lock up the window. Oh, what are we supposed to do in a situation? What are we gonna do? Fumbling, trying to grab their keys. They fall on the ground like that girl in the movie. Always falling from Jason or Freddy, right? They'll be just like that. But somebody who's used to it, who got common sense, who can figure it out, they'll be like, oh, I'm good. I know what to do. I'm already ready for it. Yeah, you're supposed to do this. Just hit the handle over here, duck over here, right? Be cool. It's all right. However, getting off that beat. So what ends up happening is, the fact is, you are already taking in the form of the mark of the beast, because you're already controlling yourself. You're distorting yourself with all the drugs, with all the narcotics, over and under the counter medications. So you are already blocking out your instincts. You're already changing your bright, colorful eyes to dull gray, like you see on the zombie movie on Resident Evil. When that zombie's eyes was dull gray, you're already doing it. When you sitting in the backseat of your Cadillac or your truck or your Hummer or your Tahoe and you blazing it up, okay, you're already taking in the mark of the beast. You're already distorting yourself. You're already controlling yourself, because all that does is stimulate your body. You are pre-sickening yourself. And as a matter of fact, y'all been doing that for decades. As soon as you put a bottle to your lips, that's when it happens. As soon as you take a needle and you stick it in your veins, there you go. Nothing on the face of the planet should break your skin. When you break your skin, you break the contract with God. Once you break your skin on purpose, not by accident because you fell and you scraped your knee, or you need surgery because something happened. When you break your skin for any reason other than that, okay, and you don't have to do it, you break your contract with God, thus nature. And you're taking in a form of the mark of the beast. Y'all been doing that since birth. What ends up happening, let's fast forward this. Let's say that instead of you letting your body rest, and y'all don't, because you work more than 9 hours a day, most times, and Saturdays and Sunday. because you allow your American lifestyle to become overburdened and overbearing into your personal life and pretty much control everything that you do at home. So now you don't want to be at home with your children. There's no rest. There's no eating right. You're not jogging like you used to. And you're not doing much of anything but continuously taking in these drugs, these forms of the mark of the beast. And so instead of this happening like a one time in your rippling phase, that is your fluid DNA, settling and coming back to normal, you continue to ripple the wave with the constant drugs. And the drugs, of course, is laced with positive and negative. What that means is you taking over the counter, and many people are taking under the counter because you want to get high, because you want to feel good, because you want to escape the world, because you got a nicotine addiction, or because you need a drink. Gotta have a beer. Gotta have that bud. Gotta have those hops. Gotta have it. So what ends up happening is the rippling wave, unlike water itself that will settle eventually, the rippling wave of your DNA or your fluid energy, right? Of your patterns, of your strand, of the very genetic pattern of who you are, right? It's a form of intelligence within itself where we constantly learn. Your body learns based on your habits. Your body is a very wonderful, programmable machine that you can tell it what to do. I know this, being a physical trainer, bodybuilder, so forth, so on, being physically active and getting out there. I know what the body can do. Once upon a time, I was never who I am today. Once upon a time, I looked in the mirror and I didn't like what I saw. So I decided to make a change. It's no different when you cut your hair, when you take certain type of medications to make yourself look a certain way, and some of you color your hair and all this kind of thing. You do so many things to this body, right? So besides the cosmetic, the internal affair of the body, when you're trying to pump iron, you're trying to lift weights, or you're trying to lose weight, or you're trying to get a bubble butt, or whatever you're trying to do to impress the environment or even yourself, you know it's capable to learn. It's learning. It's learning by what you do to it. And then eventually you begin to see the results because you are the master, and the mind will do what you want it to do. And what happens is your brain will start sending out those signals from your nerve endings and every other faculties that is within yourself, to demand your body to operate according to what you want it to do. And eventually it's going to start creating the proper fluids and chemicals in order to bring it to pass. Then you give it a certain amount of time. If you're losing weight, you're 300 pounds and you're trying to lose weight, you start eating less, you start working out, you take the necessary measures. What ends up happening is you will find yourself eventually at the weight that you want. You end up at 170 to 160 pounds and people are amazed. They're like, wow, how did you do it? What did you do? It's not a lot of work, really. It's dedication and knowing what you're doing, knowing how to speak to yourself and make that change based on your desires and your requests. However, what a lot of people do not understand is that not only does that happen because you're rippling the wave, and it ripples your DNA, it ripples your body, it ripples the effect that you're going to get. But it stays that way after a certain amount of time. After a certain amount of time, it stops fighting back. Meaning, if it's like this one pill, it's going to accept it, and eventually your body will get rid of it. Whatever it might be, whatever drugs that you're taking into your body, it's going to be for a short amount of time, and you're going to be good by the end of the week. It's out of your bloodstream. It's in your fecal matter. Your eyes are brighter, right? Or you pushed it through your skin. Sometimes your breath stinks. Sometimes your skin is pimply because it's trying to push out this sickness. You got it? But the more you do it, the weaker you become. The more you do it, the more your internal body, which is the organic computer, is going to learn. That is the true smart machine. It's going to learn of what you've taken in, and it's going to make it immune, or shall I say, it's going to make it a part of its DNA. You got it? It's a part of what it's going to be. Are you understanding this? It doesn't fight it any longer. This is how you end up with mutated cells. This is how you end up with cancer. This is how you end up with pancreatic issues. This is how you end up. This is how you end up with your overweight issue, heart palpitations, calcified veins. All right. And of course, I can keep going with the restrictions and the bad habits and not being able to sleep at night, sleep apnea, blah, 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 bad teeth, gangrene. Right. So the body is going to begin to take it in the midst of an autopsy or surgery, when they have to actually go in to visualize the lungs after a certain amount of time where you smoked your entire life. The body could no longer fight back. Therefore, it takes it in. And not only does it take it takes it in and it starts damaging itself because it can no longer fight back the filthy smoke that you put within your lungs because you want to escape the time. You want to escape the day. So you robbed yourself of oxygen, but you added poisonous gas into your own lungs. Already you have gained the mark of the beast already. Let's go further with this because this is the timeline here. If you notice, this is a timeline from the beginning when you're taking this pill to the point where you start weakening now. Now you're getting older and you're getting older and you're getting older. And let's say you stop taking those injections and those pills over and under the counter. Let's say that you do that. Okay. And you stop at the age of 45, 46, but yet you still having bad withdrawal and effects from what you used to do. Yeah, I used to smoke when I was, ever since I was 13, for some of y'all. Man, I've been smoking for like 30 years. I've been smoking for when I was like 20, when I was like 10, 15. So you say, well, yeah, I stopped that like 10 years ago. Your lungs may recover a little bit of itself, but it's not going to recover 100%. It's still there. You damaged it for too long. You did too much. Taking over-the-counter medications or under-the-counter medication. You've been rippling the waves of your genetic chemistry for so long where now your body is crippled that way. Yes. Or your body expects it and you have withdrawal and you don't know it. Now you're living with with stuttering. Now you stuttering every now and then when you talk. Now you can't think straight. Now you have memory lost. That's right. Now you have achy joints. Now you can't sleep at night. Uh-oh. Now you seeing things. Now you hallucinative. Now you scared. Now you coming up with all types of other misfunction, or I call it diseases, because you damaged yourself because you decided to take this form of the mark of the beast and you stopped too late. You stopped too late. And the more you do this and the older that you get, imagine being a wore out boxer or a wrestler. You can no longer do that. You're too old now. Your wrestler is your immunity system, or your wrestler is your ability to fight back these foreign agents, bacterias, and differences that you bring into yourself. Okay? Through your red blood cells, your white blood cells, your antibodies trying to fight it off. But because you're so weak now, because you kept beating it down, you kept smoking, kept on drinking, you kept taking the medication, you kept injecting yourself. So guess what? Guess what? Your body's like, I can't do it no more, boss. I can't do it no more, boss. I can't do it no more. I can't help you anymore. So now everything that you take is amplified, almost 100%, knock you off of your chair. There's nothing to defeat it now. Now your body takes it in. Now you are subject to a vital, critical situation. By this time, you imagine that the older people or other people in this particular condition, have already stopped taking that drug, or they already stopped doing it several years ago. They've already changed their lifestyle, maybe 10 years in advance, some of them 15 years. That don't help. It's not going to help because they stopped too late. They stopped taking the mark of the beast too late. Their body is already transformed to be what that person wanted to be. It's almost like when you have a heavy set person say, well, I used to eat like that 5 years ago, but you still see the ramifications. They're still big. And then you know what they'll say? I'm having problems losing weight and I don't even eat like that. Well, you ate like that for too long. You stopped too late. You should have did that when your body was healthy enough to quit. You should have rejected what was injected in you earlier instead of later. Now you're done. You're finished now. Now you got to suffer. So if you really want to know what the mark of the beast is, again, you already took it. We've already been taking it for years now, and I've been telling you about this in a different form. This is a different angle at looking at my studies. This is a different angle of looking at it. So it's not going to be a computer chip that's underneath your palm of your hand or your wrist. And some people say, well, there are some people around other countries that's been experimenting with putting stuff underneath their skin and being, getting mark of the beast on their hands, and they're taking this and they're taking that. Well, why are you looking at them? Why don't you look at yourself? What have you been doing for the past few years? What are you injecting yourself with? How are you eating? Huh? It's not in the way that you see. The enemy doesn't come in the way that you expect the enemy to be there. The enemy comes in like a snake. Do you understand? A snake. Snakes slither. You don't see it, and it's very, very quiet. Or a cobra. But, the rattlesnake, it rattles its tail to let you know it's poisonous and it ain't playing with you. But guess what? Some of the most poisonous snakes are very, very colorful and bright. They're letting you know, okay, I can take you down. And guess what? In our country today, drugs, over and under, and injecting yourself with all kind of poisons and stuff. Guess what? It looks colorful. It looks promising, don't it? Hey, man, go ahead and smoke this, man. Go ahead and pop this. It ain't gonna hurt you. Go ahead. Chug, 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 chug. Your peer pressure, you having fun, man. I need a beer when I come home from work. Just go ahead and pop me a Coors in there, man. Give me a Bud Light. Put that on the table, man. I won't get me some of that. I'm gonna give me a 6-pack, man. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. While your breath smelling like a bathroom stall and your teeth look like you've been chewing on tree bark. And your eyeballs look like you've been staring at the sun for way too long with no resolve. We're busy concentrating on the indoctrinated form of the mark of the beast. We're busy worried about what people told us what it was, but you're not paying attention to the bright colors of the snake that's in your face every day. In the disguise of a packaged meal, in the disguise of a pack of cigarettes, in the disguise of a colorful package that you put right between your lips and drink it because it gives you a buzz. Oh, you're going to be buzzed, all right. Wait until you're 60, 70, 80 years old. You'll get your buzz. You're going to get your buzz right out of here. That elevator, you're going to push that button. Going down. You get your buzz. Keep on. Go right ahead. And you'll be the first one talking about, oh, I'm not going to get the mark of the beast. Shoot, if somebody put a computer chip on my head, I'll fight them back. Well, Jethro, smarty pants with a smart dumb phone in your pocket, you don't understand. You've been doing it all this time. You already took it, and you're probably taking it right now and don't care because it makes you feel good and it tastes good. That's what the snake is all about. It'll make you feel, of course, the real snake won't do it, but the signification of the colors on the snake identify that this item is going to look good and it's going to taste good. and it just may feel good. But the results of it is poison. Poisoning you slowly. You can feed any animal, rat, cat, or dog, poison real slowly. And at first they may smell it and they may walk away from it, but if they're hungry enough, they start eating it. They may start getting sick at first, but if you gradually do it, they'll constantly get sick, and you can feed this thing this big pile of poisonous dog food or something like that. Give it an amount of time. Eventually you go outside and the dog's laying on its side. I'm telling you this by science. No, not by experience. I don't poison dogs. I love nature. You know that. And people. I'm giving you an example here. Accept it or not. That's the reality. But imagine that being you. Unlike the dog's immunity system and ability to fight back, it has its own. Dogs go through the same situation, and animals as well, where they'll suffer for a little while, but they'll bounce back. But imagine you accepting this every single day, gradually, and you don't know that you're sickening yourself until the end because it tastes good. That's what I told you in the beginning of the audio. You got to have long vision. Look 10 years ahead of time and say, if I keep doing this 2 times a day, 7 days a week, 4 or 5 weeks in the month, 12 months out of the whole year, that's going to be a hell of a lot. That's going to be a hell of a lot of pills, a hell of a lot of poisons, and your body is struggling with that daily. So most of your fecal matter, half of it is going to be that every day. Well, I'm going to say more than half. But eventually your body can't handle it no more. It cannot handle it no more. It can't. There's a story that some older people, they can't hold their bowels over time, where they're going to have Pampers. You got to ask yourself, how does this happen? Now, we know by science and nature, sometimes when you get old, there's just things that you can't handle because your body gets older. And it's a very disturbing time of your life. It can be, and it can be embarrassing, and you need help. You really need help. But the key is how it happens to you and when. That's the key. There are some people, well, here's the thing is the distorted condition, the worst condition of it will determine what you've been doing today. That's right. That means either you're going to be draped over, broken back. You're pushing this cart. You got to have mommy and daddy Pampers. You're struggling up the stairs, or you can do it all by yourself because you've been taking care of yourself, even though you may have your issues and you're older, but you're still walking, you holding on to the rails. You don't need a cane or a push chair. Or for a whole lot of other people, guess what? They're in a wheelchair, completely a vegetable. Why? Nature isn't that crucial. I'm gonna let you know right now, nature is not stupid. Your body doesn't want to be like that when it's 60, 70, 80 years old. It's doing everything it can to avoid it. It's trying to help you. As a matter of fact, when you are pushing out these excess particles out of your body, whether through your skin, your breath, your hair, right? If your body weight, or when you go to the bathroom, it's doing everything it can to avoid the dire end or diarrhea. The dire end is trying to avoid it. Right? So when you compress yourself with the mark of the beast, the form of the mark of the beast, through bad food, injections, over and under the counter medication, because you don't want to live right, you are quickening your time. You're going to make your conditions worse. You're asking for the grave to come to you, not you to go to the grave. You're beckoning and crying for it, and eventually people get it in worse ways than what you expect. These big black marks on your face, big pimples, look like somebody gave you a soccer punch with a sledgehammer, and all it is your body breaking down and the mutation showing up on your face because you lived a very bad life. You hated yourself. You sold yourself for comfort, all because you needed nicotine. You had to have it, so you traded your health for cancer, or for getting sick, or for having lung surgery or heart surgery for some people. You see this big incision right there in between their chest. Yeah, I had to have surgery, but yet they're still puffing away. You are restricting yourself of oxygen, and you talk about you love God and you love life. How could you do that? How can you say you love yourself, but yet you're sitting here poisoning yourself with the form of the mark of the beast? And you'll be the first one talking about, no, I ain't gonna put no computer chip on my hand. You just did. You're doing it. As a matter of fact, it almost took you under to the point where the doctor had to help and save you by doing heart surgery on you. You mean to tell me your 2 or 3 trips to the emergency room on ER or the ambulance coming to your front door wasn't a sign enough for you? It wasn't enough for you to realize what you was doing, that the mark of the beast was trying to kill you? Isn't that the whole idea of the mark of the beast, to control you and to take you to the underworld? Isn't that the same thing? Isn't that the same thing when you take it in poison, is to control you and take you to the underworld? Isn't that what the mark of the beast is? Isn't it a chain around your throat? It's the same thing, ma'am and madam, sir and sirzettes. It's the same thing. It just looks different, but the results is the same. The results is to make sure that your face is wiped away from the face of existence. You got it? But while it is controlling you in the process, you are to be pilfered for all that you have. Medications, drugs do the same thing to you. You have to go buy it. You got to take it in secret. You got to hide it from people. You got to do it in the comforts of your home. You got to drag it from the store home. If it's those kegs or, those 12-box cans of beer or something like that, an alcohol liquor store. You got my drift. You got to pay for those habits. You got to invest in hurting yourself. So when you are investing in hurting yourself, you get the result and you are responsible of it. And you are already pre-made, a already marked person. You're marked for the grave. You got it? You grab the marker and you wrote on yourself and say, I will be number so-and-so to leave the face of the planet because I love the poison that you gave me. Slowly but surely, it's going to make me disappear. And I don't care because I feel good in this moment. You would ask me if I ever drank when I was about 20, something like that. I didn't like it. My body rejected it. Anytime there was an experiment, I rejected it. As a matter of fact, my whole body was like, I don't like this. I want control. This thing is not going to control me. So you would find me being this sober, straight dude sitting there, eyes wide, and I know exactly what's going on. But man, did you drink something? I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm good. And then when I did drink something, guess what? I was still up against the wall, arms crossed, like, I ain't gonna let this control me. I don't think so. You say, well, Morpheus, have you ever got tipsy? Well, I'm not gonna say I did not. I have. Once upon a time, yes. But that's why I'm telling you, I could not didn't want it because I realized it was the most compromised position to be in. And my whole body was saying, no, sir. Absolutely not. No. I don't like this. Get this out of my blood. All right. Don't you ever do it again. Ever. So therefore, when you think about the control of the dynamics of the drugs and whatever you inject yourself with and your bad foods, your GMOs, genetically modified food from poisonous areas that you ain't going to check the ingredients on because you never do because you're worried about how expensive it is. That's a form of you giving your control away. Isn't that what the mark is all about? You giving your control away when you put that stuff in your mouth or between your lips. You're giving your control away to that substance. And that substance is going to cause you to do unnecessary, devastating, crazy things to yourself and others that are around you. No deal. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. You must find your freedom through natural sources and within yourself. Find your hobbies, find something that you are interested in. Go for a jog or something like that. Work out. Find love and happiness in other things, not in trying to escape with drugs and injecting yourself with the form of the mark of the beast. Over or under, because once you break your skin, you break the contract, and you're going to have to deal with the consequences because you gave it all away. All away. Therefore, if you really want to know what the mark of the beast is, that's the mark of the beast, because it's not going to come knocking at your door. And I'm like, hello, Jim. How are you doing today? Oh, who are you? Oh, I'm the mark of the beast. Oh, you are? Yeah. I came to mark you and put a chain around your throat and take you down to the underworld. Are you ready for that? Like, no, I'm good. I'll pass. Go to the next neighbor's house. I'm good. I've already signed up somewhere else. Not me. No, I'm good. As a matter of fact, don't come to my house again. Ever. Right? It's not going to come to you like that. It's going to come to you in the form where you never knew it was always there. The snakes ain't going to get up and walk and tell you that I'm here unless it's a rattlesnake. It is going to be bright, though. You're going to see the colors. It's going to stand out. But there's some snakes that are camouflaged, and there's a lot of camouflaged snakes here in America. It is camouflaged, and it's in your food, it's in your smoke, it's in your drink, and it's in your little pills that you think is helping you, but it's taking you down at the same time. Stop doing it. That's the mark of the beast. Not your biblical idea of it. This is all about science, logic, and reality. Get the fairy tales out of your mind. This is real life. These are things that has already happened and is happening every day. Straighten out your focal point and your focus and your perception of what's been manipulated and bombarded into you, and focus on what is real, not what is a story. This is Leon C, aka Morpheus, and this is all about your empowerment and waking you up, because I am for you. That is your explanation of the mark of the beast. Like it, share it, like it, share it, like it, share it, and subscribe it. Like it and share it and subscribe it again. And share the wealth of knowledge and true freedom.